Today's story's from Genesis 25, and it ends our story series of stories about Abraham. Now, after Abraham found Rebekah for Isaac and they got married, he decided it might be nice if he could marry again. Abraham married Keturah, and they had 6 sons. These sons began to grow older and had their own families, and the Bible lists their names for us if you're interested. But Abraham was wise enough to remember that God's promise was to bless the world through Isaac. So he carefully gave gifts to Keturah's son and sent them to live in other areas away from where he and Isaac lived. Abraham didn't hate Keturah's sons, but he loved Isaac more than any of the others. Abraham gave Isaac everything he had after he had given Keturah's sons their start in other lands. Abraham lived to see Isaac become 75 years old, and then he dies at the age of 175. He's 100 years older than Isaac. And I found it very interesting that the Bible tells us at least 2 things about Abraham's death in Genesis 25, 8 through 9. Let me read that. Abraham gave up the ghost and died in an old age, and in an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the cave at Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the sons of Zorah, the Hittite, which before Mamre. That describes where he was buried. What I found interesting is that he was an old man, full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him. By describing his death this way, it shows us just a little hint about there being something after death, about being gathered with his people. Not enough information to tell us how it will be, of course, but just a little bit. Then, otherwise, it wouldn't have mentioned his people, I think. It was an interesting description. Then the Bible shows us that the brothers didn't hate each other, nor did Ishmael hate his father for sending him away. They took his body to the very same cave that Abraham had bought to bury Sarah years before, and buried him there. This was probably what he had planned all along. Then the Bible tells us how many sons that Ishmael had, and he had 12 sons. And they seem to be prosperous in the various lands and towns and castles. They were called princes. Ishmael lived to be 137 years old, and the Bible does not tell us any more about his life or his family than that. Then the next story I want to tell you tells all about Rebekah and Isaac's family and their life story.